Hi there everybody. Remember when I promised to answer all of your questions? Well, I think I've been running a little bit late with that. The reason is simply because I was too lazy and because I really got a ton of questions. I decided to upload it in parts because instead of just uploading one hour long video, I'll do a few shorter ones in which I answer about 10 questions each. But here it finally is, the FHQ video that I still promised to do, and yeah, basically this is it. Alright, so the first question is somebody asking me, what is my favorite order of insects apart from Lepidoptera, aka butterflies and moths? Well, if I had to pick one insect order that's my favorite that are not Lepidoptera, I would pick praying mantids, Mantodea. And the reason for that is I actually used to be a huge fan of praying mantids a while back when I was a teenager. I used to have like 10 species of praying mantids, and my actual passion for insects didn't start with butterflies and moths. It used to be praying mantids, really. That's what got me into insects, and as I got older I started breeding butterflies and moths, and I realized that I like them more. Well, I'm probably not going to change my specialism anymore, but if I had to pick one of my favorite orders, really I would pick Mantodea, aka praying mantids, because I'm still a huge fan of them. I think they're interesting. There's a huge diversity of them. I don't really have the time to breed them or keep them because they take a different setup, and I'm not really that good at breeding them as I am with butterflies and moths. But yeah, I appreciate them, though I wouldn't breed them again. So that would probably my 1 favorite insect order. Another question I've seen in the comments is, can I breed crippled moths? Well, that depends in which way they're crippled. Generally yes, even crippled moths will pair, and sometimes they are so crippled they cannot fly, which can be a problem, especially for the males, since the males are the ones that are supposed to fly and find the female. However, most of the time you can still hand pair them. If they are not too impaired really and not underdeveloped, then yes, you can still hand pair them. But really I don't see no reason to do it, because crippled moth, I mean, if it's a very rare species, then I understand, because we better try anyway, because you don't have the don't have the opportunity to breed them a lot. But if it's a common species, and it probably means they have bad genes or bad fitness or are not well adapted to captivity, or are just weak individuals. I myself am not really a fan of breeding crippled ones. Although it's possible, and I have done it a few times, but only in case of really rare species that I really need to breed. But yeah, it's possible, but I wouldn't recommend it. Another comment is one by Emperor Moth. By the way, nice to meet you, dude. I've seen you in the UK at an insect fair. So, if you could only breed one species from now on, what would it be? Well, honestly, I'd probably kill myself. Not even kidding, but that sounds horrible if I just was able to breed one species. But if I really had to pick one, then I don't know, it would be something really common, like maybe a death's head hog moth, but it wouldn't be fun at all. Maybe I would quit my hobby, because breeding one species is just worthless for me. I like to breed obscure species where not a lot is known about their biology, for example, and yeah. If I had to breed the same ones, there is no research involved, so that makes my hobby obsolete, really. Next I will answer 4 questions that have been posted by one single poster. The first question is, what country do you want to travel or move to? Well, if there was one country I would be able to travel to, I would probably have to decide between two countries that I wanted to visit for a long time. They are either Costa Rica or French Guiana. The reason I like French Guiana is because it's one of the safest countries in South America to travel to, but also because of the laws on collecting insects are perfect there for hobbyists like me. For example, if you go to Brazil and you get caught taking eggs or cocoons or even dead moths for research, then you can end up in jail for eco-terrorism because all the native wildlife is very heavily protected. But in French Guiana you're basically allowed to catch and take home insect specimens that you found, really. Actually not live ones, but dead ones are okay. And basically eggs and cocoons, yeah, I would smuggle them along with those. Second of all, because it's part of, well, at least it belongs to France, which makes customs less harsh, because if you travel from the European Union, really you have to go through the European customs, which are less harsh, really. And there's also amazing biodiversity. I love to see the Amazon rainforest. Very interesting species there. And the other country I would still want to go to is Costa Rica, because, well, Costa Rica has an incredible diversity of insects, including butterflies and moths, but including everything else, birds, lizards, you know, you name it, snakes, spiders, beetles, whatever, every kind of, you know, there's an incredible diversity, really incredible biodiversity. And Costa Rica is also really beautiful, so I'd probably try to decide between Costa Rica and French Guiana. I'm not sure which one. I think if I ever had the money to travel, I'd go to French Guiana, really. Can scientists raise the number of species that are threatened or endangered? The answer is yes and no. Of course, by breeding them you can artificially increase the numbers, but that's actually useless, because the amount of individuals is only regulated by nature, and it's really restricted by their habitat. So if a species is endangered or very rare, breeding 1,000 or a million of them would not help. And if you would release them, the numbers in the wild would just plummet back to their natural amount, because you know, it wouldn't be helpful at all. If you know population ecology, you'll know that environment is the main deciding factor that decides how much individuals of a certain species there are allowed to be, really. And if you want to help some species, you'll have to look at their habitat or instead, or their host plants, but not breed a lot of individuals, because that's basically useless. What is the biggest and smallest butterfly and moth species that I have right now? Well, the biggest would be the atlas moth, Attacus atlas, really. I mean, it's a very common species in the hobby, but yeah, it's still one of the largest ones. I think Attacus caesar and the Hercules moth, Coscinocera hercules, may actually be bigger than Attacus atlas, but I don't have those right now. Maybe at some point later in the future. The smallest species that I have right now is Notodontidae, and they are in the cocoons now. I've shown you the larvae on my YouTube. They are the Schisura consina from North America. It's not a really small moth, but I like big species, so for me it's the smallest species I have now. What species will I have next? Well, I'm about to receive some very interesting cocoons from Uganda and Cameroon, so it means I will probably have a very interesting species of African silk moth, but it will be a surprise for me, so I'm not sure what species I will have. I also expect eggs from French Guiana, because I have a friend who's traveling there, and he's sending me some eggs of some very special and rare insects, so if I manage to breed them, you'll see them on my YouTube in a short while.